emanates from people with complaints. So I was like, as someone who goes to work, you wake up in the morning, and even for the month, you set up a budget. Okay, this is when you look at these fluctuations around also a scenario. Was that one? All right, so thank you. For me, this thing is not new to us. It has happened several times. For instance, when you have this increase in price and all of that, everything does go up, and your salary still remains the same for the next 6 months, for the next 1 year, 3 years. So, what you use that salary to buy has increased, and yet the salary is still the same. One of the things I believe is God is still faithful, still a faithful God.
I know you'd say that.
Yeah, even if the price of goods goes up and the one that comes into your purse, into your account, still remain the same. I think this is where wisdom is required. For instance, if I'm spending, or let me talk practically, like the way it happens when all this thing happen, the way I manage it. One of the things I did there was number one, to cut things down. Are you getting me? So if this week, if I'm using like 5,000 naira worth of petrol for generator, for that week, instead of running generator for Monday to Saturday, I rather pick Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's all. Then, for instance, if the places I go to that are sometimes take my car or take my and they are trekking, you know what I did? I did a lot of prayer work. Then I will just stroll. So these are a salary now whose your income will still the same, but things has gone up. I think there is need for you to scale down. I would still like to take you on that idea of scaling down. But before we get to that, I would want to get ahead of myself. Let me now shift my focus to you now. Price fluctuations as a business person. Most of the time, it's been assumed that whether the price increase or decrease, the effect is still on the end user. You know, you run it, for example, let's say you run a manufacturing production, the price of, like, let's say you make paper, the material there for that is increasing. At the end of the day, the price of it has to, at least from the usual idea that we get, is that it will have to follow the end user. But for you as a person, when you think about price fluctuations, how have you been able to define price fluctuations as a business person, and how have you been able to adapt that or incorporate that as you navigate running your day-to-day activities?
Okay.
honestly speaking, this is a wonderful opportunity to just tell everybody, like, you know what? There will be Christmas at the end of 16. Sincerely. I remember getting to the market, the typical example you gave now, I got to the market and after a few, I don't go to the market very often. I go once in a while. I buy what I want to buy and I plan ahead. So I went to the market after a few months that I've been to the market and I was like, how much is this? So price. This one, and I was perambulating on the same spot, not knowing what to buy. Trust me, there is only a limit to how far we can put all the burden on the end user. Because if you get to a point, the end user will have their own limit as well. Like Pastor Isaac rightly put, is a salary hierarchy. Salary is going crazy. Where do you expect the end user to get that extra you have added on the process? And to be fair, my husband rightly said that he started the scenario of the former and the Akima of to let you know how demand also drives prices of things and the shape of things in the markets. Yes, everything is about demand and supply. So if the end user got to the limits whereby they cannot add more money to buy at the new price, that means demand will naturally fall. And this has happened in our business. I'm in the agri sector. I support farmers and females, and I noticed that farmers are having egg glut, even when they were selling the egg at rock bottom prices that they are hardly breaking even. They were having egg glut some few months back. For potato chips, some farmers have had to bury chicks because nobody is picking them up. And this is not supposed to be. Usually people book ahead with the actuary. That's at day, I want 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 chicks. So the actuary would have, when the demand is not coming, unfortunately, you cannot pass the demand to the chicken that will lay the egg. So the chicken will still produce the egg, especially if you have a breeder farm. The breeders, they will produce that fertile egg. The egg, farmers know that okay, people are not placing order. In faith that people will place the order, things will change as we're all looking in Nigeria. They will sense the same egg. They will ask them, but guess what? By the time they put their price of production on that chip, people are not able to pick it up. So they end up destroying a large number of it. Right? So that has happened even this year. I know a farmer who has buried about 400,000 chicks in this year alone. Yes. I know farmers who will have 10,000 crate of eggs back in their store and they are not having people to pick it up and they keep reducing price week on week. Like, what about 4,000 too? What if like the price of egg, the price of egg in the supermarkets? We're talking about 6,000 naira or thereabouts, 6,500. But on the farm, if someone was begging, come and take it 4,900. You were still looking for customers. So demand and supply plays a critical role, but at the same time, the buying power of that end user also plays a significant role. We have to find a balance in between these two.
I really love that analysis, and which should not take impact to supervising because it's talking about the fact that you have to reduce some things that you used to do before. But the question now is that, from the last reports that I have, I hope I'm correct, somehow the inflation rate has seemed to somewhat balance because prior to now, 8 months till now, before now, it's month after month, there's just this increase in inflation, which then means that the purchasing power gets reduced. But the question, and that's what I like to take work on now. You say that we have to have the wisdom to now reduce the things that we do. But then the more you reduce also, let's not forget that the price of things keep
getting higher. And also the salary hardly changes. I don't know if you get my point, sir. So how do you put the balance to all of these things? What will be the solution?
Okay, there's something we call areas of influence. And the other one is called, please remind me.
Area of concern.
Area of concern. This one we are talking about now, area of concern. Are you getting me? When it comes to a salary and like me, I just said it. There are two things to do. Number one, I mentioned scaling down on things you buy.
And that's why I was asking.
Yes. Secondly, or you increase or you look for that source of income so that you can at least meet up. When we are talking of scaling down, you can't scale down feeding, or you can scale down feeding, of course, but it will have a limit. For instance, you've been giving your daughter or your son 4 slices of yam before. You now reduce it to 2. Trust me, if that child cannot talk, he or she will not be happy. Are you getting it? Or maybe you are having 111. Now you now say, guys, from now we are going to be having 101. All these things, as good as they are, sometimes I think the best thing to do when inflation comes like this is for you to sit down. Are you getting it? How much am I earning? How did I was talking to a friend yesterday. He has a son in one of these federal university. Then he told me that monthly he will give his son 45,000 naira. The child will not go to school with food though, with nothing. We just give, so go and buy food, go and do whatever you want to do. I now ask him, what if the rice that you think he is buying or he was buying for 5 naira is now 6 naira? That is his own business. I've just given 45,000 naira. So I think the best thing, like I've said, is you looking at what comes into your purse, then looking at how to manage that thing. Are you getting it? Then how to think of increasing what comes into your purse, not necessarily from that salary. There may be other source of income that can help you meet up what you know or your demand for the month or for the year.
Okay.
Now, in a situation like this, we are actually not leveraging on what we have. For example, we are not an island. We have a community, either where we live or our place of work, even our place of worship. Now, when we buy in bulk, it brings down this cost of goods and services. But when we leverage on that, it's to our own advantage. And number two, we can plan ahead. For instance, like she said, she goes to the market once in a while. Not that because we looking at the trajectory of things, it's going up, it's not coming down. So how do we plan for, let's say, at least looking at how much I earn, how much will, okay, let's plan for, let's say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month, rather than going to the market every week. Because mind you, cost of transportation is also included. But when we leverage on our network, our support network, kind of, okay, let's buy in bulk. If we are buying meat, we buy a cow, we share. If we are buying eggs, we buy in bulk, we share. Because even these farmers too that are pushing this out will still give concession to bulk buyers.
Thank you very much. And please, the mic's still on him.
Sorry, why?
Okay.
I think we can add this one to it, please. We were looking at dealing with economic anxiety. We're still talking about price inflation, fluctuation now.
Yes, because those are the things that eventually make your heart race to
anxious.
Yes. So my question to you now is that at the beginning of this conversation, you told us about demand and supply. When there's a demand, but in an environment where, and of course there was a statistic that was released recently showing that about 90% of Nigerians earn less than 200,000 naira, right? So the question now is that you have a product. Yes, there's a demand, right? But then it gets to a point where the people that are demanding for that product are reducing. Why? Because has reduced, has been decimated, and there's hardly anyone who wants to venture into that. And of course, based on the explanation Pastor Isaac gave us, that you have to learn to scale down. So for example, I learned that, okay, I used to like this thing, but now I have to scale down. I can't buy this thing again. That also affects the business person, which will now mean that you have to devise strategies. So two things now. Yeah, and that's the question actually. So, what strategy will a business person deploy at that point?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. You will talk on it. Pastor shared some things with us some time ago. He talked about sachetizing ideas. Then it doesn't make any sense because I felt like, come on, I deal in bulk. But over time, each day, whenever we're having a conversation, sometimes she will say, how do we sachetize this idea? So it now becomes the norm. If I'm looking at something, I look at how can I sachetize this? Now, we are looking at people talking about, okay, fine, because it's coming down, prices are coming down. What strategy are the business people deploying? Now, if I realize that you can buy 25 kg bag of rice, the next thing to come to you is 5 kg bag of rice. You can afford that. And also, when we talk about purchasing power, sometimes we are not, I would say, in the area of budgeting, there is still, we need to do more. I have seen people that wants to attend occasion, and it's crazy. They want to buy that clothes as if they don't have clothes they can wear to that occasion. But mind you, these are the same people that actually are the lowest bottom of the pyramid, but they do more than themselves because it's crazy. I can go to a function wearing trousers and t-shirt, but they are the one that wants to prove to you that they can do this, but at what cost?
Okay. Yes. Talking about what will business do? Earlier on you asked me, we always pass the prices to the end user, but now you're asking what will business do to make sure that the prices are fair, stay fair. Okay. So basically, you know that when things go up, especially in Nigeria, sorry to say, it's so hard for it to come down. Even when every effort has been put in place to make sure that that price comes down, right? And most of the businesses now, they're looking at how actually they can bring it down. In all fairness, in all honesty, since even government is looking at that. Government is making a lot of effort to make sure that on the immediate, there is relief for the public. And on the long run, well, those efforts may not literally translate to long run relief. It might accumulate to something else, right? And if we are not in business of winning cups and getting extra dollar on plan for, you know what I mean? We have to look at how we can make sure that what we are doing has a sustainable edge to it. So I've been opportune to work on cost saving for some businesses I've worked with before. And what we're looking at is how do we save cost, even though things are on the rise. When the idea first came, I was like, are you people serious? You want us to save costs on what has, increased price like 3 times last 2 months? How do you want us to do it? But because they know that businesses knows that if they're not bringing down the cost, they cannot push that cost to somebody else at this stage. So everybody's looking inward. And one of the things businesses are doing, which is where you actually want me to address, is one, he has said about sachetizing, but we are also looking at something that we call alternate. So if this brand name is this price, can we get something else that is not this high, but will do the same function? You understand what I mean? So we're looking at alternate materials, alternate ingredients, alternate products. When certain milk came and you know that all those milk, they come in this big thing, big can, and then the prices are this. One is Holland and one is this and one is that. I don't want to mention any brand name. But over time, another milk came that is in sachet and that is not Holland. So going for such sachet products or the one that is not Holland brand, or it's like looking for alternate solution. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, okay, we're talking about buying in bulk already. You could also look at, if I'm not even using milk, substitutes. Let's say I'm not even using milk, or let's say I'm not even going to use product A. What else can I do? What else can I eat? If the boy you said earlier on in your example that was given 45,000 naira for a month could not afford to buy rice, fried rice, jollof rice, he could start thinking about buying potato and fried yam because those are cheaper. So if we lessen the stress on ourselves and adjust what our preferences are, we could actually find ways to bring down this cost from our own influence points and thereby lessen the burden of anxiety that we are bearing. Thank you.
Fantastic. A question just popped in now, and it's a general question for all of us. There's this thing most Nigerian businesses do, the arbitrary increase in price of things. You just wake up one day to say, but nothing has changed now. Not these are so who increased the price? What happened? Who did this? What did that? Of course, there's been conversations about FCCP, the commission in charge, all of that. So when it comes to price regulation, what would you advise so that we can help, so that we can so business people that want to just that when this place nothing has happened, the price of things just goes up. Who ordered this thing? Who made this happen? Right. So in terms of price regulation and in relation to consumer protection, let me start with Pastor Isaac, because you are the end user. What would you advocate for?
Well, it's a pity that the environment we find ourselves may not give someone like us the privilege of, even if you advocate or something. You know, when a place where system doesn't work, I think that should be one of our prayer. Where there is no system, even the system that are on ground, they don't really work. For instance, from my house to the junction to the third road, if you're taking bike, see last week, it's 300 naira. From Monday till now, it's 500 naira. Fuel, there's no increase in fuel.
It's been raining every day.
Yes. So natural thing brought increase in price. So, but if it were to be in a place where there is system to check things, are you getting it? I don't think it will be like that. So for me, one day I was thinking alone, Lord, okay, that was during this fuel increase, 1,000, 13, 14. I just went into my room and said, Lord, either 10,000 naira, bless me. Because I don't want to give myself that problem of thinking that this is, how will I do it? How do I do it? How do I go about it? So for me, to do that, it depends on the government that we have and the system that is put in place to check such things. It's not something that is in our power. That is area of concern.
I have a different opinion. When we have situation like that, this is where I view it. It's an opportunity to be in that business. What do I mean? What do we actually sell? In a situation where I'm not the one producing this product, then what I'm actually selling is my service. I know of a filling station in Ibadan. Whenever there is a price increment, they still stick to that price until they exhaust what they have in their tank farm. And that endear people to them naturally to keep selling. Now, even when we now buy new, sometimes you say there is nothing is happening, but there is a price increment. Actually, something happened, but not in the immediate. For instance, if you know, okay, I am buying this product, I bought this product A for 1 naira. And I have heard that when next I'm buying now, it is now 1 naira 50 kobo. Now, what does that mean is I can't take my 1 naira plus profit margin to the market to buy the same product. That is what actually pushed up the price. But honestly, like I said, it's an opportunity to be in business. Now, if I have been selling to 10 people with 1 naira profit margin, then there is an opportunity to sell to 1,000 people with the same profit margin of 1 naira. Now, at the end of the day, I am making more than somebody that is selling with 2 naira for 20 people. But because we are so myopic in our thinking that, okay, fine, it's all about me, myself, and I. When next I go to the market, I want to be able to buy more. What I'm selling is actually the service. So when people know that I can trust you with your prices are fair. That is why it's annoying when you go to the market and they will give you price and they expect you to bargain. That means you have the mindset of cheating me in the first place. But if I walk into a supermarket, the price is constant. So there is no need to be saying, okay, sometimes it happens, especially to the men, when we buy things and we take it to, we don't want to discuss the price because kind of like, you don't know how to bargain. So I'll rather, where do you buy it from? Supermarket. So it's an opportunity to actually see, wow, okay, people are increasing prices arbitrarily. This is an opportunity for a God-fearing person to go into that line of business.
Okay. So what my husband just shared now, there were times that we bought a product. I mean, okay, there was a particular time we bought a particular product, and I know that by the time we're buying again, the price will be this much. And I was telling my husband, what do you think we should do? And he told me, you know what? We are in business for such a time as this. We're using this church mind. He said, let's stick to what our usual pricing mechanism is. And when that time comes, we'll cross that bridge. Sincerely, there are still some people who are still adhering to that in this same economy, in this same climate, but not everybody is adhering to that. It's boiled down to two major things: your mind and your system. You know, the system or the structure that you set for your business. So why did I say your mind? If your mindset, you already have a value-based mindset, like what my husband said, I mean, it would be easier for you to still endure in business, even when you know that, like the fuel station is cited, even when you know that when you're going back to the market, you may not be able to buy at the same price. All right. But that's one way to look at it. That's what most of the supermarkets have. Sometimes you will realize that even buying in some supermarkets, it's cheaper than buying from the open market because their system, they fix the prices. And until that stock is depleted before another price comes in, well, the next price might now be a far cry and maybe a jump, you know, but some supermarkets still stick to that. Why? Some people, they go and change that price when they hear something is going to happen. So what will government do? You are saying that if there is a government, or maybe if there's a system, a regulation from for the public now, maybe from the government. Yes, don't forget that even this system, people will still execute it. And after government had said, oh, we're bringing, let's take fuel, for example. Oh, we're bringing down the price of fuel to a certain price, let's say to 800 naira today. Start selling 800 naira. Everybody, people, you know, the different things that will go through the mindset of the fuel station. The one I've bought, how will I recover that? We've not even seen it yet. Tomorrow you might change your mind. And somebody will, a lot of things will come in between. And then government will have to even employ someone and put them as task forces and ask them to go around fuel station to ensure that the prices are being complied to. It is extra stress where there is no need to be extra stress. If we all could just have the mindset that, look, we are all on board together, we want things to be free and fair, and we want everybody to enjoy the benefits. So that kingdom mindset, that value mindset is very key for a businessman to have it. Then secondly, the system that you have. If you have a system that says you are pricing your social product with certain margin, you stick to it. If you have a system that says when it is as long as stock lasts, stick to it. You understand? But if you take it out of the structured economy and you take it to the open market, it's different. They also have different forces that combat them. For instance, the bike you mentioned. I was taking a bike one day. Let me say, it's about to rain. It's not even raining yet. The cloud is just gathering. And bikes stopped. They all just stopped going. And I wasn't driving because I want to get to where I'm going fast. They just were not ready to move because they were anticipating that it will rain. And I was wondering why. let's go now. Only if it's raining, we'll stop somewhere. But then I observed further. I noticed one bike that eventually picked me. He first went to a shop, bought a raincoat, that nylon polythene raincoat. He bought a raincoat, maybe 500 naira or so, and he told me he's going to charge me certain amount of money. I felt, oh, well, he has incurred an extra cost, which he wouldn't need to incur if it's not raining. So I just tried to bargain a little bit further, like, okay, we have a fair price. At least you're not going to use the raincoat for me alone. So let's keep going. And that was the only person that, the moment the rain drizzled and then it stopped, it took me to where I was going. Well, by the time we got there, it wasn't even raining there. So you notice that on the road now, bike vehicles, they will incur more cost on their maintenance because a lot of things will happen. And so in anticipation of that, a lot of them will have to add on to whatever they are doing. So, but I would just employ everybody that let's still keep our, integrity and our kingdom mindset to what we do.
Awesome. Now, moving on, one of the things that have been established in this conversation is someone being able to scale down. When you realize that certain things are just going over the roof, what are the things that you can scale down, adjust, and all of that? And Pastor Isaac made reference to some. You also made Pastor Femi also made reference to someone who just wants to that show off mentality. How do we help someone right now? I think about it in terms of pride or ego, such that they've been used to a particular life, right? But then, by the virtue of economic circumstance, now they have to scale down. Someone who likes to do Uber, now has to come down to having to fly bike and negotiate the price really well. And that kind of person, it may be hard for that person to make that shift. So the question now, and it's a general question now, in how do we help people in making that shift? Whether it's someone who is coming from a place of ego or pride, or someone who's just like, I've gone low. Do I go lower again? So how do we help people make that shift? I think I'll start with Pastor Isaac again.
Thank you. Helping people to make that shift is good and is very easy. If you are in that position, I think the best I can do is to call you. Let's discuss. Are you getting it? Or show you practical steps. And the practical step we're talking about is what we've been saying since. I have something they said, you have to be a wise steward of what you have. What you have, you have to be a wise steward. You should know how to do or how to distribute or take care of something you have. This thing is not, it's not until when you were told, it's something you can see yourself. The problem, why people are not having, how do I put it? Is it lack or why we don't have savings? Don't worry, another one will come tomorrow. Another one will come tomorrow. When you were in my place of work, the men there, at a particular time, some of us, we bought land and we're building. And there were these 2 or 3 people who are even our senior. Each time we tell them, Mr. Lagbaja, there's a land so place. Come on, by saying they drink. They drink. They will now tell us, it's a lie. The money we used to drink is not what we used to build. You get it? So they kept saying that. They kept saying that. I tell you today now, the one that has roof on his head is just maybe like 3-bedroom flat, just finish one room out of it, then pack them. When we were saying it, all of them come tomorrow, we're going to get 1 million naira. Next tomorrow, we're going to wait. So for me to help somebody, I can use that example just to counsel, or you take them to a place where the counselor can actually counsel them, then direct them, and also pray for them that they will yield. So that is, for me, that's the way I think I can help someone in that situation.
How do you help somebody that is not ready to help himself or herself? It's there is this allergy we met in Kano some time ago. He is a very rich man. When I say very rich, in those days, if a car should come out yesterday, Alhaji can bring it down to Nigeria today. And this is somebody that is not educated in the four walls of classroom. But he said something. He said, when you are like this, live like this. So when you fall, people will not notice because you still maintain that standard. Let's live like this. So when things happen to you and you come to this level, you are still maintaining this level, nobody knows. So for somebody that is flying Uber, the question is to what essence? If Uber is what is required to get that thing done, it's okay. I could recall sometimes people will say before you can get a contract from any organization, you must have a fine car, own your car. With that, Uber has been able to help because now you can now book a Uber and even tell the driver to wait for you. And they will still wait for you. And the beauty of it is most of the cars they use for Uber are not just any car. At least the basic things are there. The AC is working. But if I need to book an Uber to show off, it is poverty mentality. Who am I deceiving? Yoruba will say, if I am deceiving you, I can't deceive myself. So it is the purpose that matters. But if your purpose is to show off, then I can help you because you're not ready to help yourself. That's just it.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, they've said wonderful things, but I'm going to say to that person now listening that needs help, that take heed and hear what they have said. And on top of that, add wisdom, because wisdom, Bible says wisdom is profitable, right? Good. You see, when people were the advent of Jackpa, I was like, everybody that is Jackpine will Jackpa back if care is not taken. And why did I say that? Not everybody have the discipline to survive at the climb they are Jackpine to. So if then I look at it also that, well, I think it's also good on the second thought, because they are going to learn that discipline they lack here where they're jackpotting to. Take, for instance, Uber could be good or could be the next option for somebody who don't need to buy a car, but they want to buy a car to just say they've bought the car, they've arrived. So they have a lot of cost to incur by maintaining that car. Maybe a few occasions when they need a car to where they are going, they could just book Uber. And that is what is happening in that climate outside the country. You see a lot of celebrities, they don't even go out in cars. They use Uber. It's cheaper. That's one. Two, the system will teach you to commit and to deliver value wherever you're working, not just to sit down and you say you're working, but you're actually not adding any value to what you're doing. So please, if you are that person, make sure you're adding value to whatever you're doing for yourself or for other people. Add value, because in adding value, that's where your money or your reward comes from. And three, the parable of the 10 talents. You know, the Bible says we're given talents according to their capacities. You have to examine your capacities. If one thing that you are doing currently is not working, there might be, and I'm sure there are going to be other talents that you have, but you have not explored. Because I was talking to somebody some weeks back, and the person doesn't have a certificate. No, he wasn't a graduate. He was out of school for one reason or the other, and he doesn't really have much skill to earn money. But I had to help that person to look at what other things can you do. Some people don't even realize that they have skills they could earn with. So it's high time for you to look inward and, like that widow, find that bottle of oil or find that tax that you can do successfully, that somebody will pay you for that value. So explore your opportunities, explore the options that you have, explore the talents that you have. If you've used it before and somebody has said, oh, well done, is good, even if it's for free, try using it again this time around, add a little cost, a little charges. But if people are not even going to pay for it, still do it for free, at least. That way you will earn that skill and people will be aware that you have that skill. So when the opportunity to actually earn with that skill comes, you will come to mind. But staying put and saying there is no alternative, there is no way, I'm at my last bottom, I can't go any further, and then resolving to do things that were not righteous or things that are not good in terms of legality of those things, I think that is not an option. There is always something inside of you.
I love the way this conversation is going now. It's looking as if we are getting to that deeper realm. But the first part of the theme is economic anxiety. And something popped up in my mind to say, this anxiety, where is it coming from? Is it because of the price fluctuation, or is it because we can't meet our needs? I think I'll start with
okay. I'll tell you, you're asking like, is the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken? It's both. You understand? So prices go up and you look at your salary, which is fixed, and you cannot meet your need, then you panic. It's simple. Or prices didn't go up, they are stable, but your needs are insatiable, they are increasing. So you could have anxiety from either ways. But the first thing you need to do and stick with, which has been mentioned briefly in past, but I'll go back to it now so that you remember, is that you budget. And when you are making your budget, if you are earning like this, budget like this. So I hope that answers that. So economic anxiety can come if you are not earning enough to meet your need, or if you are increasing your need unnecessarily. So solution to number one is increase your earning. Solution to number two is budget within your limit. Don't budget the same size as your earning. Budget very, very well below it and save for the raining days, because in your budgeting, I'm sure that you must put aside something, a saving for the raining days, because that's important in budgeting. All right. So we've said it before that you are going to, if you're not earning enough, expand your earning. A lot of things you can do. Thank God for AI, thank God for internet, thank God for the World Wide Web. A lot of opportunities. You can get customers from anywhere and everywhere, not only with your neighbors and your family and friends, but to boost that business idea or that service that you are rendering. So I have siblings, especially these millennials, sorry, not even millennials, Gen Z and the ones below. A lot of them, they are very, very talented and they are making a kill with skills that you won't even think matters like 10 years ago. You understand? So please, if you need to upskill and make sure that your earnings is expandable. If you are a teenager, start thinking about it right now, because I work with teenagers too. And honestly speaking, there is no better time to start planning your future than when you are even a teenager. Thank you.
Yeah, I will say it comes from a place of fear. But how do you manage it? Like she said, oftentimes it is our wants that drives our needs, whereas it's our needs that are supposed to drive our wants. Pastor Isaac said, cut down on your spending. She said, increase your earning. We can strike a balance in between. What are my needs? And what are my wants? It's an interesting time right now, globally, not only in Nigeria. I have friends outside the country that also complain. But like she said, when we are planning, we need to plan right. And when we are executing, we need to stick to our budgeting. Oftentimes, we do the budgeting, we do the planning. Do we stick to them? No. But when we stick to them, we realize that we still have something to fall back, still have excess. I have heard of something that says delayed gratification. If you don't buy that thing, you won't die. And Christmas will still come. But because of our fear, if I don't do this, everyone will fall. Nothing will happen if we are disciplined. But because sometimes we yield to peer pressure. If I don't go to this party, if you want to borrow, to what purpose are you borrowing money for? Oftentimes we borrow money to finance our wants, not our needs. I want to buy a car because my friend bought, let's say BMW or whatever brand. Mikra will serve the same purpose if that is what I can afford, honestly speaking. But come to think of it, a lot of people are looking for Mikra to buy now because it will save them cost of fuel. I have a friend that has a Jeep that has exotic cars. Where whenever we are going out, it's Mikra will bring. Now we've come to that level, we need to come to our senses. What is actually driving our needs? Thank you.
For me, everything that has been said is what is needed. You know, the Bible says you should be anxious for nothing. When it says not, it's not as if there won't be anything that needs to be anxious for. But it talks about how do you handle it when that anxiety comes. I think how to handle anxiety is what they've both said. So, but for me to shape in this is, as a child of God, need for us to pray for wisdom to guide us through that this particular period. We need the wisdom of God. Then we need to be contented with what we have, but not to be complacent. We just have to. You know, the Bible says, godliness with contentment is great gain. So to be contented with where you are, but keep pressing into your goal, then developing yourself and trusting God for increase instead of being anxious.
Awesome. Just one last thing very quickly. This one is, you are a business person, you are 95. What's that one principle or practice that has helped you stay anchored and that you recommend? Let me start with Mama. What's that one principle or practice that has been your anchor through?
Okay, so at this time, honestly, that's the best time to innovate. Yes, to drum it, if you're comfortable, it brings complacency. And then from complacency, you become redundant or you can even be unproductive. So at this time, not to panic, he already said it, but look within you and innovate. It's look at what other value can I add on. So as a business person, I think businesses right now should be innovating. Government also. I know we have not talked about government, we've talked about business all along. But sincerely speaking, government also should innovate and borrow from all this thing we have said. We all know it. We all know all of this. Majority of us even knows better. We've been to schools that we knows better. But let's innovate, let's execute also. So innovate and execute rightly. Thank you.
Practice.
Yeah. The Bible says, whatever you find your heart to do it well. No matter what, like she said, the talent we have, what are we doing with it? So one with one, to one with 5 to one with 10. Be it 9 to 5, be it a business person. That thing that you are doing, if we are consistent with it and we are faithful at the same time, we are owning our skill. It's just a matter of time. We'll also break forth. That's my observation.
That's what I said.
I only talk about consistency. Be consistent in what you're doing, and also look for, other ways. Like he said, be innovative about it. There is little you can do about what is happening, but you have much that you can do about yourself.
Man, these are, man, these words I believe should now mean something to you. I want to believe that in everything that has been said, answers have been given. And you see that in all of these things that has been said, you see that nobody's putting any blame on anybody. Everyone is taking responsibility. Things will happen. What are you going to do about it? On the final note, Pastor Isaac said consistency. Pastor Femi spoke about the fact that what are the things that you have in you, and Mrs. Titonia spoke about innovation. Become innovative, because things will change. We can't stop. There's some things we can't stop, really. And that's what Pastor Isaac told us, reminded us again. The self-concern, self-influence. Self-concern, you hardly can do anything about it. But the ones you can control, what is it that you can do? And I believe that everything that has been said here will open your eyes deeper. I believe that you will be able to play it again and let faith rise up in you. I believe that ideas will pop in your head that you'll begin to execute, that will help you stand out from the crowd, that will help you stand out from the fluctuations, the instability, whatever it is that is going on in our world. I think I also have a special spot for 9 to 5 workers too. Please innovate. Look at your industry, and that's part of innovation. Look at your industry. What is the value chain? Maybe you are doing one. Maybe it's time to add the other second part of the value chain. If it's too much, employ someone. Tell someone, can you do this? Outsource it, do other things. And I believe that God, will help everyone. Special thanks to my guest. It was fun having a full house today. I'm happy. I'm really happy to have a full house. Pastor Femi Titonia, thank you for coming. Mrs. Titonia, thank you for coming. Pastor Isaac, man, what can we do now? Thank you very much. My name is Kaya Desoni, and it's been a pleasure being here hosting this first edition. We go again next week, Wednesday. But remember that Saturday, we have our leaders meeting by 7 a.m. If you'd like to join or learn more about leadership, please do join us. And by Sunday, we resume our normal service time. By 8 a.m., we have Real Success Seminar. And by 9:30 a.m., we have the network service. And till we see you again next week, I say God bless you.